The oldest server in Minecraft history was hacked after no less than 13 years of operation, 13 years of existence. This unprecedented case sparked such controversy that European justice authorities had to step in. First, it's important to clarify we're not discussing the 2B2T server, the oldest Anarchy server, but Minecraft Online, which has been active for over a decade. From 2010 to 2023, hosted on exactly the same map where it was originally generated. To see how old this server is, remember it was created just an hour after Notch, Minecraft's inventor, announced multiplayer mode. Anyway, the way the hacker decided, planned, and carried out his attack on the server is absolutely insane. By using a fake identity and social engineering, he gained exclusive access to the server's code and was able to infect it with malicious viruses so that he could gain access to privileged information. In addition, the hacker managed to generate and duplicate illegal items with the purpose of selling them for real money. And last but not least, he gained access to internal data, server diagnostics, Discord logins, emails, and passwords of donors and contributors. This was really serious. And moving on, unlike the 2B2T server where the rules are not clearly defined, Minecraft Online follows a series of principles and guidelines that are much stricter and more controlled, making the server safer for both players and admins. Here's an example of how strict Minecraft Online is. The simple act of destroying or breaking something built by another player is grounds for a ban. This way, the server doesn't allow or at least drastically reduces the chances of bad actors affecting the community. Well, at least until March 2021 when the drama started. That same month, a malicious player was banned from the server's forum for trying to spread malware and viruses to other community members. For security, we won't share his name, so we'll call him the hacker. And besides sharing harmful content, the hacker tried to steal Discord credentials from dozens of players and members, but he was quickly banned permanently for this behavior. Still, just over a year later, the mysterious guy crafted a new identity to gain access again. To be more specific, he created a female character in order to disguise himself. Just so you know, the guy was so cunning that it took him over a year to infiltrate the community again. And of course, because of his advanced programming knowledge, he was invited by the server administrators to join the Minecraft Online development team. Anyway, the server used a huge variety of plugins to keep it running. The developers chose the same operating system used by several softwares such as Netflix, Android, and Adobe, so it was something top of the line. The hacker created a plugin called Backdoor, which secretly penetrated some codes and allowed direct access to the server's internal programming. And for that, it was necessary for the individual to distribute a malicious version of the operating system program among the server developers. And when this is run by an ordinary person, nothing out of the ordinary can be seen. However, when it is executed by the server's internal programming lines, the Backdoor plugin is started without anyone knowing about the situation. And this feature works as follows. Imagine yourself going through a metal detector machine just moments before entering it. You throw all the iron objects you have with you over the machine, and after passing through it, you pick up the objects again. This analogy isn't perfect, but it helps us understand how the plugin works. It's simply a crude but effective way to bypass the security system. Now, being honest with the Minecraft Online info security team, we should bring up and emphasize that the server went 13 years without suffering any other serious and damaging attacks. So, it's important to point out that any and every system can be bypassed, regardless of its level of security. And in short, the hacker managed to perform a systematic and automated trick to allow malicious content to easily invade the game's internal code. This method worked so well that by September 2022, just months later, the hacker's Backdoor plugin was already on the server, giving him full access. Once everything was properly installed, the anonymous person could send JavaScript commands through Minecraft's chat. As if they were those cheats used in Grand Theft Auto where you use codes to create a house, to create a car. Even better, inside Minecraft he could grant unlimited items and resources without other admins noticing since it was external to Minecraft. It was even possible to access and read internal data files available to Linux system users even through Windows. All these virtual crimes were being committed for months on end before they were finally discovered by the right people and reported to the authorities. But well, the first few months of using the feature were wonderful because it was properly used and taken advantage of without being noticed. However, it didn't take long for some clever players to realize that something was wrong going on there, on that server. According to a report received from the player Tash Mooney, some members of the community noticed that the number of rare items on the server was increasing a lot without any apparent reason for it. And this can be proven when we look at pictures of a city on the server called Newport, where we can clearly see that over a period of 6 months the progress made was extremely significant. Players know how hard it is to progress on a strict and limited server like Minecraft Online. This logically raised suspicions that were then investigated. This isn't an anarchic server where item duplication is normal, here it's strictly forbidden. The main reason for raising doubts was that the city stayed nearly unchanged for years. But suddenly, new areas appeared as buildings, houses, and even luxury structures were built. At this point, it was already clear that there were players who were somehow obtaining questionable benefits. However, it was not expected that, in fact, things were beyond what was imagined. The hacker was obtaining items directly from creative mode, using the resources he had created to bypass the system. He also began selling these rare items within the server, creating a sort of black market in the blocky world. But this time, with a small detail, this apparently virtual market was actually moving large amounts of real money. Another key point is the underground shop sold not just normal items but also illegal objects unobtainable in survival mode even in multiplayer. Still, the hacker could always sell bedrocks, portal frames, and structure blocks since he made them using text commands. And of course, that's where he slipped up, that's where he stepped on the banana peel. He gave himself away because he thought it was pretty obvious that something wrong was happening on the server. All these screenshots and evidence are on YouTuber FitchMC's channel with credits in the description. Some say these screenshots were created just to stir up paranoia among players and admins. So it's that familiar guy who benefits, can't stay quiet, brags, and then everything falls apart, right? In addition to these unattainable items, some extremely overpowered tools were created with properties far beyond Minecraft's standards. With high fire aspect, fortune, silk touch, and efficiency, for example. The hacker and his accomplices turned Minecraft Online, once the most honest and stable server, into an anarchic server like the illegal ones. Get ready, my friends, this is just the tip of the iceberg. That's because strange things started happening on the server, like items disappearing from certain players' ender chests. Some players also found illegal block pieces in buildings and homes, leading to conflicts and confusion in the forum. Because of this, and as importantly, screenshots of hundreds of stacked command blocks began circulating in the community, showing the need for administrator intervention. So said and so done. The GMs of Minecraft Online put on their superhero capes and set out to investigate the mysterious crimes that had been committed inside the server. And well, at that moment the jig was up and the hacker really got what was coming to him. So, on January 9th, 2023, after investigating, searching, and going through every line of code and plugin they had, the server administrators discovered a backdoor that had been maliciously implanted by the hacker a few months earlier, and at that point, the plugin had already been active for no less than 4 months. Also, it turned out to be much worse than it appeared. That way, the staff removed the feature and started to analyze the harmful effects it had caused. They concluded the hacker had access to many privileges, including players' in-game data, server login diagnostics, registered emails, donor names, and a list of several account logins and passwords. Things got more serious when the team responsible for the operating system the server used made an extensive report detailing step-by-step the tricks that had been carried out in their software. And of course, right, they published this on their website for security reasons, really, to warn other people. The report was so detailed that the technical information is very hard to understand. But, in short, the hacker was stealing Discord credentials in order to increase his status. The most curious thing about all this is that it was there that he received his first ban in the year 2021. This is actually a cybercrime, even if it doesn't seem like it. And, logically, the administrators of Minecraft Online in January of this year, after fixing the lines of code and strengthening their security system, decided to write and release a statement to the public, basically saying that they had been hacked and even immensely harmed for the first time in 13 years of existence. And with the proper security measures taken, all players who obtained, bought, or shared illegal items, knowing they were created through an infected plugin or backdoor, were permanently banned from the server. Even though the Minecraft Online staff are proactive, they admitted human factors kept them from identifying the problem, and this since according to them, they could never have imagined that a specific person would be faking their own identity for years pretending to be a girl, only with the cold calculated goal of taking advantage in a block game server. Luckily, the hacker had left some clues about his actions which could be investigated. And finally, it's certain that one day the house falls. They discovered the whereabouts and real identity of the cheater to take legal action with the authorities. And the European Union agency, better known as Europol, was contacted, and they accepted the complaints made against the hacker, and yes, all of them were classified under the cybercrime law. In this way, the cheater is being held accountable in court for all his actions committed online. Man, what a satisfying ending. Imagine the guy in prison explaining he's there because of a blocky game. It's unbelievable, right? Even the Discord security team contacted the authorities and filed a complaint since they were asked for logs to track what the hacker did while stealing credentials. So the community itself was really shaken by everything that happened. Some players began to wonder how many builds had used the malicious Backdoor plugin, completely compromising the server's integrity. However, it's important to note these attacks had already occurred on other Minecraft servers like the old 2B2T in 2016. This isn't the first time it's happened, but it's the first time it's gotten this big. Anyway, the jig is up, my hacker friend. Subscribe, hit the like button, handsome, big hug, take care.